Grid Pix is finally here, after what seems like a decade. However, it's COVID-19, so it could have been 3 months in reality, but I'm actually fairly sure it has been a few years. 5 or so. Now, you have to factor in with this review that, well, Jupiter owns my soul, or my wallet, which is probably the same thing. As I have played their Picross on the Game Boy, the SNES, of which there is actually 8, the DS and 3DS. So far I've managed to content myself with more 3DS and not dived into Switch versions yet. If you have a 3DS and enjoy this game, or sitting on the fence if you'd like it, then I highly recommend the free-to-play Pokemon Picross game to get you hooked. Presentation is top form in this release. The graphic design is very on point. The screen transition is particularly nice. There is a choice of 3 different styles of music and off or BYO. The menu is simple but functional, very GB inspired. It would be interesting to see the checkerboard scroll, as it is so cliché on the GB SNES era, but it's a bitmap and yeah, no chance. For those expecting the cute animations, you will sadly be disappointed. For your $3 US, you get 100 puzzles, 5 5x5s, 24 10x10s, and 71 15x15s. Picross is Picross. You get a grid, you get some numbers, and you have to solve it. For those familiar with the Jupiter range, all puzzles are free mode, and I would say are up to normal level 5 in difficulty. Here, Carlton has gone with a cycle approach. 1 fire gets you solid, 2 fires get you a mark, and 3 fires returns back to empty. You can, once you select your style, hold a direction to get a row or column of them. Handily, he has included the mark doesn't override a solid, which makes it faster to mark a row as complete. Sadly, with the toggle method, undoing accidental solids to get the marks is tedious. Also note, I found an odd bug where if you are holding a direction, let go of fire but still hold the direction, it does still set the next one to the current mode. This tripped me up many a time and caused some frustration. Personally, I feel that a hold to switch mode, such that there is a GUI item that shows if I'm in set, mark or clear mode, and then that is what fire would do, would have been the better choice, but I could just be trained by the DS and 3DS versions. Typically when I solve a puzzle, I have a set everything I know to be true, then do marks, then what is new, etc. back and forth. But this could just be me. It comes down to the exact puzzle design, and neither style is perfect. There is no way around it. The game does need 2 buttons for it to be smooth. I feel to get a smooth experience on the C64, some level of automation would be required. I expect a level that has a row of zeros to pre-populate the rows with marks. Columns also. Due to the slightly clunky nature forced by a 1 button, when you complete a row, it would be nice if it auto-marked the line for you. But I could see some players might want it on a toggle. Another issue I had was the grid. While it is empty, it is very clear, but as you fill up the squares, the 5x5 nature starts to become a lot harder to see. I feel this could be remedied by putting a different color on the border like so. When the grid is empty, you barely notice them, but as it fills up, they become more prominent and give you the frame of reference again. These are nitpicks, though. The game and input method is perfectly serviceable. There is a solid variety to the designs, and they have managed to avoid the ye old classics such as L and a sewing machine. For a more complete on how to play, I'm going to switch to a SNES version, as A, the controls are smoother so it will flow better, and, more importantly, B, I won't spoil any of the puzzles in the game. First, you start with solid and empty lines. This puzzle has 15 lines. You will learn your combinations of 15 very well playing these games. So then you look for complete lines. 7 plus 3 plus 3 plus 2 gaps equals 7 plus 6 plus 2 equals 15. 4 plus 5 plus 4 plus 2 gaps equals 5 plus 5 plus 5 equals 15. Then you want to use the double overlap method. So I will mark the 252 line starting from both ends. Any identical areas that overlap means those locations must be set. The 272 line also has some overlap. Seeing as 7 is 2 more than 5, you can imagine it's 2 over on each side. The 3113 line also has some overlap, as does the 2332 line. Now let's look at the top 15 line and see what else we can learn by marking off squares. Now on the 352 columns, we have the 3, and we can see where the 5 ends. So we count up 5 and mark off all of it. And we can mark off part of the 2 area as well. This gives us the 7 from the 272 range. Now either side there is a 3 which must have a 2 in it. Using the overlap method, we can see the middle must be set. We also now have the complete 1-3 column, so we can mark the rest. We can now see the 2-3-3-2 column. The 3s must be in the inner section, and thus the outer sections must have the 2s. So we can set some more. In the 172 columns, we have the 1 and the 2s, so let's mark them all. Now we can see where the 7s must start and count up, setting and marking as needed. The 3113 row is staring at me now. The 3s must be the first and last section. So we can mark those, but also since the 1s can't be next to each other, one of them has to be in the middle section. The 252 row. We must have the 2s in the outer sections in the middle, and the middle section only has 5, so they must all be set. The 352 columns are complete, so let's mark them. which reveals the remaining ones from the 31113 range. We can now complete the 19 column, as the bottom square has to be empty, and we can count up. This splits the 2221 row into 4 sections. So the first one must have a 2 in it, so we can set the middle, and then the next 2 sets squares must be the other 2 2s, so we can set and mark them. This only leaves the last section, which must have a 1 in it, but we don't know where just yet. We can now complete the 1110 column and the 112 columns. The 111 columns must have more set. If we count from 11 up from the bottom, we can see more. The 5x5 grid really helps. This completes the 252 and the 272 rows. We can now complete the 19 columns, which gives us the first 2 from the 2221 row, and thus the first 111 column. We can complete the 2332 and 11 rows, which in turn gives us the remaining 110 and 111 columns. And complete. These techniques are all you'll need to complete Grid Pix. Well worth the $3 if you get the digital version. It is also available in cartridge form from RGCD for £35, and coming soon a budget disc and premium disc version from Cytronic, which will probably be about £8 and £15 respectively. Links below.